when Blandon comes back, you can have Blandon, Carson on the outside, Diggs and Lewis in the slot, and even if the team goes 4 wide, it's gonna be a rough go.
And you think Zimmer has a defense ready for those guys on the same field? How about a 3rd and long with those guys on the field covering people? You know what it means? That means the quarterback holds the ball longer, and guess what? Gets rattled, gets sacked, loses the football, picked it up against Hurts, and runs it in for a score in Philly.
Right. There's two.
I've already planned that out.
There's 2 types of sacks. One is the defensive lineman actually beats the offensive lineman, whether it's speed or technique or by brute force, and he gets a sack. Then there's coverage sacks, and you're going to see a lot more coverage sacks this year. You know, the Cowboys with their double A gap blitz front that they show, where the 2 linebackers come up into the A gap, cause a lot of problems. Drew Brees was talking about the other day, and it really does create a lot of issues. Do both blitz into the A gap? That causes a problem. Do both fall back? Then they're in a zone or they're in prevent. That creates other problems. Do they one blitz and fall back or the other blitz and fall back? That determines where your routes on one side or the other side. It determines where your line slides. And if your line slides the wrong way, guess what? You've got Micah Parsons or DeMarvion Overshown or a cornerback. Jordan Lewis is good at blitzing, or Donovan Wilson blitzing off the edge. There's a lot of ways to create pressure now with this defense.
Well, what happens is this, because it's not read and react. You got to go out of the shotgun. You're not going to go over the center with the double blitz, the double guys. You're not, because by the time you turn, you're going to get it. So you're in the shotgun. The defense is already going to know what you're going to do with the ball. They've taken away some of your options. So some of your options being taken away, guess what? You're limited in what you want to do. You're going to hold the ball. I keep bringing up Hurts and these guys who are inexperienced under pressure, who suck, by the way. Okay, Jones and those guys. That's what happens. You're inexperienced. Drew Brees, an experienced quarterback, and told you what it was like. The inexperienced decision making is going to cost these teams in your division.
And Daniel Jones, that poor guy is going to be. They're going to kill him. I don't mean that literally, but they're gonna hurt him because that Giants offensive line. Andrew Thomas is legit, but Andrew Thomas don't have an answer for Micah Parsons either. They're gonna torture those guys and probably put Micah over Evan Neal if he's that right tackle. And Dak, I thought, played a tidy first game. 179 yards, a touchdown. And you can complain about here or there. It's obvious in the second half the Cowboys took their foot off the gas to kind of control the game. They still won by 16 points. And you can say they didn't play a full 48 minutes of good football. They had sometimes, but they controlled the game. They were in control the entire time.
Yeah, exactly.
What a difficult time the Browns had moving the football. Amari, they threw at Diggs once over the top or twice, and that was it. They kept trying to throw at Carson. They didn't really have anything, and they couldn't run the football. That was Cowboys' run defense well. Zeke looked lively, which we did not think it would be back. We didn't think it'd be worth it. We thought it'd be short goal line back. But tell me what you've talked about, the usage, how you kind of change up some of the usage for the Cowboys running backs. Explain to me now, because we'll let everyone know what you think about that.
Well, here's where you want to put people in a position to succeed. I wouldn't start Zeke. I'd bring him in at the 20-yard line. I'd bring Vaughn in the open space and bring here as your running back and give him 15 to 20 carries from a certain yardage. Okay, and then you rotate him at certain positions, rotate around. But you want Vaughn in open space run that starting lineup because you can hide him. There is advantage of play action when linebackers cannot see. They have to see the ball. If you cannot see the ball, that means you cannot. Let me teach you people something. You cannot call right defenses and react the right way if you cannot see the ball. That's why Peyton Manning and Brady were geniuses at this ball, at that hiding the ball.
Yeah, and Dak, I think, has taken another level as well in his. He knows where to go with the football. You look at the touchdown pass to Cooks in the corner against the coverage. That's the only place to make the throw, and it's perfect because no one else can touch the ball except for Cooks. He's ready for the blitz. Dak is great against the blitz. He's excellent. You're at your own peril when you blitz. You got to bring 4 and bring pressure with 4 and sit back and cover, because if you bring the extra guy, he knows where to go. Cooks is excellent, and CD is obviously CD. He's physical and difficult to take down, and I think he's only going to get better as the next few weeks go on, because he'll get in more football shape. Now, Cowboys dodged a bullet with Jake Ferguson. Whether or not he plays this week, we'll see. But what we're going to see is the Schoonmakers step up and make some plays this week. Now they have Brevin Ford. They also have the guy the tight end you're waiting for.
Stevens?
Yeah, to make some plays. Jalen Brooks made a nice catch. What are the Cowboys? We expect that Cowboys tight ends this weekend coming up as we start to transition, I kind of guess, into the Saints game.
Well, again, they're going to be sharper this week. They have to be sharper. They'll be home. They play well at home. But it's a new season for those numbers. It's a whole new season. They have to be sharper passing the ball. But run the football. Run the football to set up the pass. There's a different philosophy there.
Yeah, as they kind of transition to playing the Saints, as we kind of transition the show to talk about that, Saints also are missing both of their offensive tackles this week. And you have a guy in Derek Carr who, no disrespect, I just don't think he is one of the smarter quarterbacks in the league. There's a lot of plays that he makes you're like, what is he doing? Now, they beat the Panthers last week pretty convincingly, but I think that's more because the Panthers deserve to be in the WAC or in the Sun Belt Conference more than they do the NFC South. David Tepper is probably the worst owner in sports right now. Absolute disgrace of an organization. They've basically traded away DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey, a couple first-round picks, a second-round pick, and got Bryce Young, a one-year rental for Brian Burns, and let him walk. An outside linebacker who was graded the absolute worst in the NFL by PFF last year, and 2 fifth-round picks. That's disgraceful. No wonder the Saints beat the tar out of them. The Saints have a solid defense. It's their offense that doesn't really worry me. Kamara will get his, he'll do his stuff, but the Cowboys should be able to put pressure on Carr physically, get him moving around, get him out of position, and also they should be able to mentally put some pressure on him to make some bad decisions.